All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to the final episode of Mastering Astral Projection, your map to running RPGs online. We've done it. When I first had the idea for this series, I went and made a list of the things that I thought were most important to running an RPG online and having it still feel like a bunch of people added to the table playing D&D. And the final video was always going to be about streaming and how that changes everything, because a lot of people nowadays, with how popular live plays as a series are, like quite literally, if you go to Twitch, like I'll do it right now because it'll be a really nice way to kind of end this series. You go to browse. Right now at 9 o'clock in the morning when I'm recording this, there are 166 people watching the various D&D games. And the largest game has 57 viewers. So just kind of scrolling through it. So right now, at an off time for Twitch in general, seen as Twitch's largest audience is in the U.S., and peak hours tend to be in late afternoon or early evening. Worldwide, I mean, obviously, different territories will have different times when people are showing, but the most popular time to stream is late afternoon, early evening in the U.S. as far as just sheer numbers. So right now is totally off peak hours completely. And yet there are 16 live play games going on right now. If you were to do this during peak hours, you can easily see over 100, sometimes hundreds of games being broadcast in different languages. Live play series are really popular, and Twitch isn't the only place to find them. There are a ton of podcasts that are live plays. There are people that broadcast them on YouTube and have been doing that longer than Twitch has really been a thing. Yeah, they're extremely popular. They're becoming more and more popular because of things like Critical Role and Acquisitions Incorporated, and things like High Rollers and Encounter Roleplay, which is no more, unfortunately. But these kind of professional companies that were built around live play RPGs. So, because of that, when people think of running an RPG online, they think that they have to stream it, which 100% is not true. And as much as there are tons of live play games going on right now that are being streamed, there are order of magnitudes more that are going on right now that are not being streamed. Way back at the beginning of this, it's called a situation. I made a series about how to get started playing D&D and RPGs in general online. That I call I think I called it D&D Now. Man, I got something in my throat and it's just killing me. And one of the things I told people about is if you go to Roll20, you can actually browse games and see, pick a game that you just want to join. I would say the absolute vast majority of these Giga games are never broadcast anywhere. So the idea of running an RPG online means you have to stream it is not true. However, that being said, all the games I run online, I stream. And I do that for very specific reasons. Probably the biggest of which is I enjoy streaming RPGs. For me, it's fun. Over the past past few years, I have learned how to kind of integrate the audience into part of this storytelling. And overall, I think for my games, but personally, it enhances the experience for everyone. I think it's a lot more fun to have an audience. That being said, streaming changes things. Streaming sometimes changes things drastically. So this video is going to be specifically about if you want to stream your game. I'm going to move this just a little bit. If you want to stream your game, these are some things you should consider before you stream, and these are some things you should have in place in order for the stream to be as enjoyable as possible. First things first. Streaming is going to change your the way your players view their actions. When you're playing a game, especially with new players, or players that are very experienced with watching D&D, more so than playing, one of the things they're instantly going to think about is, well, I have to perform now. And this is true about any type of streaming. It's something that a lot of people don't realize. As soon as that camera turns on, things change. Mentally, things change. Physical things will change. Anyone that has played in any of my streamed games, excuse me for just 1 second. There we go. So sorry about that. Just had a frog in my throat, and it was driving me nuts. Anyone that has played in one of my games can tell you that when the camera is off, I am a different person. And as soon as the camera goes live, my show face comes on. It's something that I developed while being an actor, where as soon as the director would say action or start or whatever it was, I did a lot more the theater than film. And in theater, you don't generally shout action at the actors. But there would be to the times we would be kind of horsing around and then be like, okay, and go. It was the technique that I learned being an actor is I would always have this kind of face that I put forward, and when I started shifting from acting into kind of more a presentations style things like doing vlogs and that, I kind of shifted that aspect to it as well. I have a character that I play when I am presenting things that is different from the regular me. At this point, it is almost involuntary. As soon as the camera goes on, or whenever I have an audience, really, I change my mannerisms. It's just how it works. And a lot of people have that same thing, though it may not be quite as conscious or polished as mine is, because I've had to do training to do this. As soon as they feel they are being watched, they will change how they act for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's this anxiety. They don't want to look like a fool. Sometimes people really do enjoy performing and having an audience. So it may be whenever they have an audience, they will become more of really everything. They will overemphasize the things and just kind of put on a show. Um, and literally everything in between that. But as soon as you turn a camera on, as soon as there are people watching, everything changes. You are no longer in a kind of vacuum where if the player does something stupid and goes, guys, please don't spread that around. You can. Once a camera is on, you can't do that. Everything once it gets put on the internet, it's forever. Now, for most of my shows, if an episode got lost because of my massive audience base, there's a good chance no one would ever find it again. Like, people aren't recording my streams for posterity. But there's always a chance that it can survive forever. So that's something that you need to understand if you are going to stream your games online. Is as soon as you turn that camera on, things are going to change. And as soon as you turn it off, things are going to change again. This is neither a good thing nor a bad thing. This is just a fact, and you can use that change to be more inclusive of the party. You can use that to change to really inspire some great things, or it can cause a lot of issues. You just need to be aware that it is a thing. Another thing a lot of people won't think about is the idea that being always on is exhausting. This is something that celebrities have talked about quite a few times, and really anyone that works in a position of any kind of entertainment or instructory position. Is you have this on persona. Like I mentioned before, you turn the cameras on, and I'm on. Keeping up persona like that is exhausting. It can get really, really tiring, and it can burn your players out, especially if they don't realize that they're doing it. Again, being an actor, that's something that you learn to deal with. Because you are an actor, is learning how to deal with the character you play and keep them separate enough from your own personality that you can coexist. If you ever get too lost in your character, bad things generally tend to happen. It's one of the reasons I'm not a fan of method acting, because it really blurs the line between the character and the actor, and it can cause a lot of harm on set. It's a very selfish style of acting that tends to ignore boundaries and things like that. So again, that's just something that you learn to do. If you've never had that kind of training or don't realize you're doing it, it can just feel like every time that camera turns on, it starts draining you of your energy. And if you don't understand why this is happening, it can just feel like the game isn't fun, and you will associate this idea of, wow, this is super draining with D&D in general, or RPGs in general, where you're just like, wow, this is really draining. Maybe I don't like playing RPGs because I just don't have this as a stamina for it. the way to kind of deal with that is the things that I've been talking about. Have those conversations before and after the game starts. Give people to the time to kind of ramp into their characters and cool down from their characters. If every single time they meet up with this group, they have to be on, they're going to get to the point where they just don't enjoy it anymore. Even people that do this for a living will get to the point where they need to be off. And they need to have people that they can be off around to feel connected to the two. So those beginning periods where you're talking about, hey, how's your day going? What cool stuff have you guys seen? Those are really important to deal with that whole being on to the thing. And every so often, you need to kind of check in with your players. Go, hey, how's everyone doing? How are you guys feeling about the campaign? Are you happy with the things are going? Are there things that you don't like that you really wish we could go in a different direction? What are you thinking? Now, as far as ways that that on feeling can be good, remember when I mentioned in the first episode having that countdown and, okay, now we are playing, and then having a time when, okay, and now we are no longer playing. The camera can be even more effective at doing that. And you can actually use it as kind of a transitionary period. The way that I run my games is everyone gets into chat generally about 15 minutes before we go live. And we chit-chat. I ask them how they're going. I'll ask about specific things that they've done. I try to take an interest in my players as much as I can. That's something that I learned in management, actually. If you don't take an interest in your employees and, the fact that they have lives outside of work, they will resent you. So in general, and most of the people I play with, I consider friends anyway. So I want to know what's going on. I'll chit chat to them and try to start up as many conversations as I can to get everyone comfortable. Then I go, okay, we're going live in 5, 4, 3, 2. I do my magic stuff to get this as a stream going, and then I go, hello again, adventurers, and welcome to the next exciting episode of Insert Title Here. And then we have, I call it the announcements segment, because in the game, in one of the games that I've been doing the longest, that's what it is. I run a game for Zelda Universe. At the beginning of every session, we have announcements about other things that are happening on the channel. And invariably, the conversation does not stick to just the announcements. It turns to, jokes and the things like that. So we are on. We're live. Everyone has kind of put on that on persona. But we're still very casual. We're not into our characters yet. We are just on. And having that transition period from we're off to we're on but not in character to now we're in character can make the impact of that on feeling significantly less. I even during my games every so often I try to limit it just to not break the immersion. But every so often I will, I'll crack jokes and I'll tell little quick stories every so often just to kind of remind people that while we are on, it doesn't mean we can't go off for a second, and we can't just relax if we need it. If you create a situation where until you say end, the players are not allowed to get out of this world, you can create a very negative environment because they can feel trapped. And then at the end of the show, I have the exact same phrase, or very similar phrasing every single time. What? But that is where we're going to end it for today. As always, other stuff I say. But by doing that again, it gives them a moment to transition out, and it gives them that buffer time of, okay, now we are on, now we are on and in character, now we are on and casual, and then we are off. And I will always end the same way. That's all for me today. I will see you guys in the next time. Bye bye. Click. By using these rituals and having them be the same or extremely similar every single time, the players themselves can get into can get really comfortable with it. Can get into a rhythm. That was the word I was looking to for. And the rhythm and the familiarity can just make everything feel better. Yeah. So streaming is going to change things. And if you're not willing to kind of acknowledge and admit that, it's going to change things for the worse. If you are willing to be aware of that and acknowledge that streaming changes things, you can use it as a very effective tool for giving a little bit more structure to the game itself and helping people kind of transition from casual off behavior to on behavior to in character behavior and back out again. The thing that is most jarring for any human is the idea of being forced to rapidly to transition into a different state of being instantly. It's not comfortable. Even people like me that are trained to do that find it remarkably uncomfortable. So, the next thing about running live is your audience. On Twitch, we call it chat. Other places might call it the comment section. You know, whatever you want to call it, you have an audience. And having an audience changes the things. I've mentioned before, you know, having an audience makes you have that on feeling. But they're going to get involved in your story whether you want them to or not. And to be perfectly honest, the entire point of streaming is to broadcast it to an audience. So if you don't want your audience getting invested and involved in the story, you probably shouldn't be streaming your show. Now, am I saying that the audience should be able to dictate what happens on screen? Absolutely not. I think that is a very unhealthy relationship to have with your audience. You and the players are still playing your game and telling the stories that you want to tell. But having an audience there that gets invested in the story can give the players more motivation to make meaningful choices, to really get invested in their characters. And that's what you want. As soon as your audience starts making demands and telling players that they're not playing their characters correctly, that's when it becomes unhealthy, simply because the players are playing their characters. Any decisions that the player makes while in character, with a few extremely rare exceptions, are the right choices, because that is that character making that choice. Now, those choices might be considered mistakes later on, if you look at plot or results of those choices, but they were the character's choices, and that automatically makes them right. Your players should not have to second guess their choices based on what other people think of their characters, and that is something you have to remind them, even at the same table. Something that I used to run into a lot when I ran games at conventions, was players that would kind of override other players. Sometimes it was intentional and kind of mean spirited because they enjoyed control, kind of that your fun is wrong kind of person. And sometimes it was a genuine interest of them to actually help the other player, and so they would do things like really simple things like, oh, no, you don't split the party. Well, in D&D, that may be an unwritten rule. Spoiler alert, it is. But that doesn't mean that's how your player, that's how your character thinks. Again, that is a game aspect. That is, by definition, meta gaming. In real life, you do not always travel absolutely everywhere with just your friends. Even in situations where you where it is in your best interest to be surrounded by other people, you go in your own direction on a fairly regular basis, because life isn't a game. You don't win or lose at it. And from your character's perspective, that's true as well. They're living their lives. They're not playing a game. So doing things like, well, no, you don't split the party, whether well-intentioned or not, is metagaming. And it takes the agency away from the player, where you're telling them that, well, no, your decision is wrong, and you're not allowed to do that. No, let the players make mistakes. Let the players learn from those mistakes, so they can make even bigger mistakes later on. Mistakes are fun. Things going wrong is fun. It's how you learn. It's how tension gets created. It's how stakes become higher. Bad choices are only bad in the fact that they didn't have the result you initially planned. Doesn't mean that the story doesn't continue on after a bad choice, or that the story can't be even better after a bad choice. So if chat is starting to direct that, the first thing you should be talking to is your players and telling them, hey, by the way, what chat is saying and stuff like that, you don't have to listen to that. If you think it's valuable, you are welcome to use that as a way to interpret your character, but this is your character. Any choice you make as your character is the right choice for your character, but because it is yours. You do not have to justify your actions. You don't have to justify your successes or mistakes. And if something cataclysmic happens, it is not your fault for making a bad choice or a bad character or anything like that. It is simply the choice that you made. And as long as you're willing to live with the consequences of your choice, because there are always consequences, make the choices that you want. Play the character that you want. Never let someone else tell you how you're going to play your character. That is the entire point of running an RPG online. So I've been kind of harping on the negative aspects of having an audience. So there's so many negative things. Why would you ever have an audience? Because the positive aspects are so much better. Having people that are as invested in your characters as you are is a drug. It really, really is. It is incredible to have something that you created in your mind affect other people. The Critical Role cast are a perfect example of this. If you were there towards the beginning, regularly they would just be completely flabbergasted of, oh my God, look what this person did about my character. Like they would get fan art and go, wow, this is Vax. I've never seen Vax, but it's Vax, and he's super badass. People talking about how these characters impacted them. That is addicting. It is such a good feeling, and it can motivate your players to get even more invested in their characters, because other people, as other people get invested, they will become more invested. It requires setting up healthy barriers between you and chat, and having everybody understand that, yes, we want you to get invested. Yes, we want you to take personal interest in all the characters and their stories and the things like that. However, these are still the players' characters. They have final say in everything. If you think they made the wrong decision, you are wrong. Because by definition, the decision that the character made was the right decision, because it is the decision that the creator decided for that character. There is no Sunday morning or Monday morning QBing here. So as long as you kind of make that understanding with your players first, and then eventually with your audience, it can be such a beneficial relationship. One of the easiest and I would say most essential ways to ensure that relationship remains healthy is having moderators. The job of the mod has changed drastically as streaming services have gotten more and more populous. And popular. But their importance has never really dwindled. Having chat open during a game, which I regularly encourage. For a long time, I would tell my players, have chat open, because it's a good idea to have chat there to get feedback, and it's fun. But don't interact with them while we're playing. And I still tend to keep to that somewhat. Where I'm not going to acknowledge jokes and stuff like that chat is telling in the middle of a very serious scene or something like that. But I've relaxed that standard simply because in all my games now, chat actually has a way to interact with the game through channel points and things like that. So completely ignoring chat doesn't really work, and I don't think is that beneficial to the game. Obviously, we do still want to tell stories, and constantly worrying about what chat is saying can get detrimental. But completely ignoring the fact that chat exists removes the purpose of streaming the game live. You might as well record it and upload it instead of just streaming it live if you're not going to acknowledge chat. That being said, having moderators that you trust, that understand the boundaries that you set up is essential. Because instead of having to stop the game and turn to chat and go, hey, guys, I understand that you're really, really invested in this, but you're kind of crossing the line right now where you're criticizing the players' choices. And that's not okay. The players made their choices based on what their character would do in that situation. And you don't get to question that. That is their character. Any choice they make is by definition the right choice. So having moderators there will allow you to not have to break up the game for that. You can even create commands using Nightbot or something like that, where the moderator can just go, hey, this person, command, don't criticize the players' choices or try and convince them to do something else unless the players are actively asking for chat in an interaction. Because by definition, any choice the player makes for the character is the right choice because it is their character. Having those moderators there can ensure that things stay as healthy as possible. In order to do that, you do have to know your moderators, and you have to be able to tell them, okay, these are the rules. You can't just randomly give people swords, which is how moderators are distinguished in Twitch chat, is they'll have a little sword next to their name. You can't just randomly give people swords and expect everything to work out. You do have to invest a little bit of time into speaking with and to training your moderators. You can do that through emails, through Discord servers. Discord servers have actually become really, really popular because of how easy it is to compartmentalize this information, where you can have specific channels that are open to everyone, and everyone can talk and theory craft and have a bunch of fun. Then you can have moderator-owned channels where they can go, hey, these are the things I want you guys to focus on. They can talk about, hey, this particular user is doing bad things. So if you see them show up in chat, just watch them, get ready to time them out if we need to, or ban them if they are really, really bad. Things like that. And then always having a place where the players themselves can interact with each other outside of the game is good. All my... but both of my D&D games actually have a private Discord channel where they're the only ones that are there, and they can discuss anything that they want. Yeah. Moderators are important. Even if you don't think you're going to have an audience or anything like that, like a lot of my games start out with no viewers. It's just how it works. I've been doing this for 7 years, and I still have a hard time getting viewers for a lot of my games. So you may not need to get an army of moderators instantly. You may be able to moderate on your own when there's only one or two people in chat. But it is a good idea to at least have one person in mind, at least, that go, hey, I'm going to be, streaming this game. Do you think you might be able to just sit in chat and moderate during this time? I just need someone there. Once it starts getting popular, drawing from your audience for moderators is something that can be very effective. Again, remember barriers. Healthy barriers make for healthy relationships. But sitting down with someone and go, hey, you're here every single week. You obviously care about the characters and you understand the rules. Would you mind being a moderator, and then to train them? These are the things I want you to do. These are the things I don't want you to do. That can create a very loyal fan base and can give you really high quality moderators because they're already invested in the show. They're not there to moderate, they're there to watch, and moderating is just something that they do to ensure that they're having as good a time as possible and everyone else is. So moderators, so super important. Overall, streaming, I think, is a lot of fun. There is a reason why I stream all my games. I have an absolute blast doing it. The chat interactions that I've created for my various games, I think, are incredibly fun and have created a really interesting relationship between the audience and the players that I haven't seen in other RPGs, and it just makes it that much more addicting for me. Understand that once you turn that camera on, your players are going to change. And you need to acknowledge this and make sure that they are aware that either consciously or subconsciously they're going to do that, and that's completely okay and healthy to do. Chat is a double-edged sword. It can be incredibly amazing, and it can be incredibly detrimental. It's all about setting up healthy barriers between you, the players, and chat, and letting the players know that no matter what chat says, whatever decisions they make for their characters, it is the right decision, because it is their character, and by definition, their choice is the right choice. And then finally, moderators. If you're going to stream, you're going to want at least one moderator. Maybe not at the beginning when no one is watching, or you only have 2 or 3 people. You can moderate on your own. But as soon as you start getting regular chat, you're going to want moderators to help lessen the blow on the players, on on yourself, and to ensure that the audience that you're cultivating, and the group that you're creating becomes a healthy, supportive group, instead of a vindictive, draining group. Yeah, so that is the end of mastering astral projection. If this is a series you've really enjoyed, let me know in the comments. Are there topics that I haven't covered that you want me to? Are there there aspects of running online RPGs that still seem confusing even after I've explained them the way I have? If you guys want a second season of this, I am more than open to doing that. But I need a little bit of guidance. I've given the kind of most important things here, and I don't want to just keep talking about this as a subject, just pulling random topics out, because I don't think it's going to be very interesting. So in the comments below, if you want to see this series continue with a second season, let me know what you want me to talk about. As always, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. Lets me know you liked it. It lets YouTube know you liked it. And if enough people let YouTube know you liked it, they will let other people like it, which is good. In addition, hit the subscribe button. I'm putting a crap ton of content out right now. I am going insane. And also hit the notification bell, because sometimes I put stuff out at weird times, because that's how my anxiety brain works. Otherwise, again, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye!